As a self-identifying Slytherin, I am here to defend these children in front of the court of public opinion. The truth is that Slytherin is a victim of slander, generalization, propaganda, and the treatment that these children have received is inevitably going to lead to a person like Voldemort. But let's start from the beginning. We're introduced to Slytherin and there is immediately a bias shown against the house. The first thing we hear about Slytherin is,
"There's not a witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin."
This not only creates an immediate distrust with the audience, but also discourages Harry from joining Slytherin. The Sorting Hat implies that Harry would thrive there.
And Slytherin will help you on the way to greatness, there's no doubt about that.
But no, man is begging to go anywhere but Slytherin.
Slytherin, not Slytherin.
Not Slytherin, eh?
And that isn't super fair. Let's look at the traits that are associated with Slytherin. Cunning, resourcefulness, leadership, ambition. Damn, I don't see evil listed anywhere in the requirements. Ambition and resourcefulness is literally what took humanity from caves to skyscrapers. It's not a bad trait. And the fact is, Slytherin has been shown to live up to these ideals, as before Harry, favourite gets all what he wants, Potter joined, they won 7 consecutive years in a row. Why did they finally lose? Because Dumbledore did some basic ass maths and used his authority to show them the biggest middle finger possible. Okay, fine, give Harry the points, even though you're sending a message by rewarding rule breaking, especially since technically without Harry there, Quirrell wouldn't have been able to access the stone, so he made it all worse, but that's another issue. Hermione, fine, technically they would have died without her. They shouldn't have been there, but they would have been strangled by plants like a Goosebump story. But Ron? For a chess game? What's the magic's elo? How many blunders did he make? Was Ron playing Martin or Magnus? I need a chess analysis of this game before I'm rewarding any points. And the cherry on top of this cake of disrespect, Dumbledore. How are you going to award Harry points for doing something and then also give Neville points for trying to stop them from doing it? I called my friend an insensitive dick the other day because he made a joke I didn't like. How many points is that worth, old man? Huh?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And what a fucking coincidence that once all the points are tallied up, Gryffindor got exactly how many points they needed to win. Dumbledore is Rain Man in his office with a calculator. And also, why are all you bastards cheering? You didn't win either. One of you is last. At least Slytherin was second. They hate Slytherin so much that they would rather cheer that they came in last as long as Slytherin loses. Basically, what you're teaching these children is that the world and the system is against them. I wonder if this lesson will have any consequences later. I mean, just imagine being a child. You're 11 years old. You are so excited to go to Hogwarts and learn magic. Like, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna put in the work and rise to the top because I'm ambitious, baby. Everyone is nervous, but you're all on the same team before you got sorted. You're just kids, you're just students. Then they call your name. You go up there and the Sorting Hat is like, you got the goods, kids. You can climb this corporate ladder. You're a Slytherin. And it's at that point you look out into the crowd and 3/4 of the students are looking at you like you're a grey man from Game of Thrones. Like, this one's gonna be evil for sure.
Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil.
And then to spit on you further, you find out that while everyone else's room is in a tower where they can look longingly, or near a kitchen, you're in the dungeon. You have just arrived, you haven't done anything yet, and yet they have villainized you to such an extent that they have basically given you an evil layer. I think they would have put you further underground with the mole people like the Incredibles if they could. To add insult to injury, they gave you this angry greaseball as a mentor. Imagine going to Snape for emotional support or advice. You're leaving in a worse state than you came. Even your patron ghost, the one that's meant to represent your house, is a knife murderer. Really, you're telling me there are no better candidates than Freddy Krueger here? I mean, Merlin's a Slytherin. Maybe see what he's doing with his afterlife. You can't be that busy. But whatever. You're like, fine, I'm gonna still try my best and do my best and, you know, put my head down and achieve what I can achieve. You and your friends go out there and get them points and you're gonna win the house cup. You've put in the work and this is your reward. And at that point, the wisest and most powerful wizard in the world gives just enough points to his old house to help them win for the most arbitrary shit possible. I like Weasley's hair. Remus irons his socks on Sundays. That blonde kid over there, you have a nice smile, I guess. 50 points to Gryffindor for flossing. Excuse me, can I get a second opinion, please? Maybe audit the point system? I was gonna put this win on my CV. No? Go fuck myself?
Alrighty then.
Now, there is a very obvious response to my claims. Malfoy is a dick. I'm not denying that. His friends and a lot of the other Slytherins we see are also assholes. But I have a rebuttal. You can't judge a whole house based on the ideas of a few members. Those are just the most prominent because we're told the story from Harry's perspective, and these are Harry's rivals. There are literally hundreds of Slytherin children minding their own business. And 2, Malfoy was a dick, but let's not pretend that Slytherin is the bully house. In the 4th book, when Harry gets into the Triwizard Tournament, Hufflepuff bully him just as much as Slytherin do. Cedric has to tell them to stop because it's bothering Harry. But all of that aside, do you know who is significantly worse than Malfoy or any Slytherin? A man previously known as James Potter. Malfoy was an average bully, all things considered. He called them names and he ratted them out to teachers, but aside from a few mudblood remarks, I wouldn't say he did anything particularly significant. Not including when his family was threatened, so excluding all of his actions in the 6th book, he didn't do anything as bad. James was genuinely abusive. Bro followed Snape around to torment him. Snape was just trying to hang out with his childhood friend Lily. He was hung upside down with his own spell that he created to be publicly humiliated and exposed. And then your childhood friend dates this bully while James is still bullying you. I get it, she didn't know what he was doing and James changed, blah blah blah. Guess what? I don't give a fuck. You know what he never did? Apologize to Snape. Instead, as a grown adult, Sirius is still making jabs at this trauma. Also, I don't really care if you stopped. I am never dating someone who bullied my friends. I mean, it's been like 3 weeks since I put your friend's head in the toilet. Why don't we go out for dinner? Are you high off the strongest magic hash? They did some evil ass shit to a boy who at the time did nothing to deserve it. I'm sorry, if I created a spell and it was then used against me to humiliate me and no one did nothing, not the teachers, not the other students, the only person who was protecting me started dating the man who was doing it, I promise you, I don't need a wand. James was creating a school shooter, but do you know what James wasn't? A Slytherin. This dynamic perfectly shows the idea of otherness that is propagated in Hogwarts. In practice, Snape was trying to stay friends with Lily, but received punishment for it, so he was forced to spend time with other Slytherins who at the time were being brainwashed by Voldemort. I mean, look at Harry. He has friends in Hufflepuff, he has friends in Ravenclaw, but not one in Slytherin? Hogwarts is more cliquey than High School Musical, except for Slytherin is a street rat that they don't want to let in, but is somehow always hanging around. Real life history has shown us that alienating a demographic leads to a mountain of resentment to their oppressors and a strong sense of community. This is literally cult creation 101. Of course, all of Voldemort's Death Eaters were Slytherin. This has nothing to do with the inherent evil of the house and everything to do with the fact that the other houses would not have followed a Slytherin leader, while all the other Slytherins were looking for community and a safe haven. Once Voldemort rose to power, this only amplified the problem, as now people felt like they had justification for their discrimination. Let's look back at this quote by Ron.
There's not a witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin.
Ron believes this to be true, but the fact is it's not. Firstly, if you're telling me that every single evil wizard only came from Hogwarts, there is a systematic issue with leadership. At this point, someone better be checking Dumbledore's bank account for war profiteering. But even within Hogwarts, that isn't true. The biggest piece of evidence: Peter Pettigrew and Quirrell, who were Gryffindor and Ravenclaw respectively. Evil wizards who fell under Voldemort's control and they weren't Slytherin. I think that if Voldemort had come from a more respected house, like Gryffindor, Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, he would have influenced a lot more people in a lot more houses. Hell, even the second most famous evil wizard wasn't a Slytherin, Grindelwald. So why did Ron say this? It's literally just the Death Eaters that are creating this all or nothing false narrative.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
But also, I do have to be fair. Slytherin does probably have more arsehole than any other house. I think I can explain why. To me, it does feel like the Sorting Hat is partially influenced by legacy, because for the most part, children go into their family houses. Weasleys go into Gryffindors. Malfoys go into Slytherin. This means that Death Eaters that did not go to prison, their kids most likely went into Slytherin. As such, this creates a propagation of generational trauma, where previous generations infect their children with these false ideas. Slytherin is ostracized, Slytherins become dicks, they make their kids dicks, and then those kids go into Slytherin. But this isn't a question of which came first, the chicken or the egg, because the discrimination came first. This is more the case of a snake eating its own tail. Let's look at the perfect example of this, which is Malfoy. He is a product of his environment. He calls Hermione a mudblood, which is like a racist wizard slang. And I'm not defending that, he shouldn't have called her that. I also kind of feel like his actions aren't inherently racist. He's just parroting his parents, trying to hurt the group with the insults that he feel like will hurt them the most. And for Hermione, her being a muggle is a sensitive spot. However, despite his insults, he does seem to hate the trio equally, despite the fact that they're different breeds. Hermione is a muggle, Harry's a half-blood, and Ron is pure wizard. I haven't read or watched The Cursed Child, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but from my understanding, Malfoy does decide to change old patterns and move towards healing. For anyone who has read it or watched it, please give me confirmation in the comment section because I really don't know. Overall, my point is, if you put a bunch of children in a school, call them evil, send them to a dungeon, treat them like trash, villainize their natural traits, teach them the lesson that the world and people are against them, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy that you will have a faction rise up. Maybe instead try some therapy and bullying workshops. Some trust falls could also work. See what happens. Anyway, YouTube gives me a lot of statistics on the demographics of the people who watch it. But fuck age, do you know what I want to know? What is your Hogwarts house? I'm going to pin a comment at the top and I want you guys to let me know what is your Hogwarts house. And I want to see what kind of people you are. What kind of people are my subscribers? If you don't know what it is, I will add a link to the Sorting Hat website in the description. But if you do want some more Harry Potter content, you're not quite satisfied, check out my longer Potterverse video. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video and don't forget to subscribe.